The Last of the St. Aubyns by Letitia Elizabeth Landon. And here they met. Where should love's meeting be? Love passionate and spiritual and deep. Where, but in such a haunted solitude, a green and natural temple, fitting shrine for those the stars remember? Much the heart is governed by such outward impulses. The love whose birth has been in lighted halls, that lives on festival and flattery, like them is vain and selfish. But the love whose voice has caught from twilight winds the tone, and gazed alternately on the deep blue of heaven, and that in one dear maiden's eyes, is e'en as those divinities of old, whose beauty was a dream of early flowers, of lonely fountains, and of summer nights. Poetry and religion blend in one. In a fair garden did these lovers meet. The elm made leafy arches overhead, and every sudden breeze that moved the boughs flung down a shower of gold, the alchemy of shining June, whose sunlight filled the air. Luxuriant as a vine, the honeysuckle grew till the foliage almost hid the flowers, whose breath betrayed them. There the sunflower stood, the golden cornfield of a bee, whose wings sounded like waters near, a lulling sound, soft as the nurse's chant of some old rhyme, seems to the very child, and by its side the white althea grew, whose slender sprays are strung with seed pearl. Up climbed the sweet pea, the butterfly of flowers. I love it not though every hue, and it has many tints. I died as if the sunset evening clouds had fallen to the earth in sudden rain and left her colors. Purple, delicate pink, and snowy white are on thy wing like leaves, but thou art all too forward in thy bloom. Thy blossoms are the sun's, and cling to all that can support them into open day. And when they die, leaving no root behind, the hope and promise of another spring, and no perfume whose lingering gratitude remains around what upheld its summer's life. Beautiful parasite, thou who dost win a place with the fair flattery of thy flowers, whose death has naught of memory or of hope, how many likenesses there are for thee mid the false loves and friendships of the world. Beyond the wooded park spread, where the deer slept 'neath oak trees, and on a glittering lake, the willows grew around it, was the home of stately swans. A lady of my tale was of an ancient ancestry, and wooed half for her wealth and half for her sweet self by the land's chivalry. But him she loved was not of her degree. What cares love for all the poor distinctions wherewith pomp invests its nothingness? And stilly half cushions and herald in the beating heart. They laughed, they parted, he to win a name amid the red wars. Great heaven, what vain beliefs have stirred the pulse and led the hopes of men, as if that honor could be bought by blood, and that the fierce right hand was better worth than the fine mind and high and generous heart. Blame not the lovers, 'twas the age's fault, and even that I were full loath to blame. Perchance our own, which now quick-sighted sees the many faults and follies of the past, has a successor in the wheel of time to which our errors will be just as clear. 'Twas pity that they parted. But 1 week, and the stern father died, none save his child, 'twas a child's duty, and she wept for him, saw it above the harsh and cowed one's grave. A monument was all his memory. The gentle lady was now free to choose, and faithfully she kept to her first love. The suitor was denied, and festivals were only graced in quiet courtesy by her sweet presence. But the passion's hut, where want or suffering came, there her low voice and fair footstep were familiar things. Her lute was a companion, and the wind caught music from her melancholy song. And often, in the garden where they met, she read those old and love-lorn histories which, with the poet's aid, wake pleasant tears, for unreal sorrow is the luxury of youth and hope. 'Twas in this happy time the artist took his likeness of her face. 'Tis a sweet picture, with the parted locks, the brows wide and open, it confides on the fair future which dreams. The hair has sunshine on it, silken robe and gem are such as suit a lady in the land. A chain hangs from her arm, which might have paid the ransom of an Eastern empire won by some bowed ancestor. But in her eyes, her deep, her blue, her melancholy eyes, sour do dimply prophecy itself. Nature and fountain have no unity. or one so young, so good, so kind, so true, should have been happy. All too soon the scroll came o'er the sea, which told her lover's fate. He fell in battle, as so many fall, unknown, unnamed. His energies, his hopes, his bold aspirings, and his proud resolves, alike in vain. She faded from that hour, quiet and voiceless in her grief. 'Twas like a bird that perishes, the cause unknown. We see the plumage fade, the bright crest droop, but reck not of the secret wound within. No more they saw her at the evening hour, along the terrace wandering with the flowers. The fair, exotic favourite sheltered there. No more her step rejoiced the aged air, and made the music of the lonely harp. And soon closed windows, shutting out the day, told there was death within that ancient house. She died with one last wish upon her lips. It was accomplished. Nevermore the vault where her forefather slept received its dead, for she, the last of that outline, slept not within the sculptured chapel of her race. They buried her beneath the glad green earth, the sunshine like a blessing falling round, and kissing off the tears which night had wept. Those stately walls are levelled with the ground, the yellow corn waves o'er them, that fair park is covered now with cottages and fields. But in a lonely nook of forest land her grave remains. There is a mound of grass, a broken cross, grey and with moss o'ergrown. A little open space is filled with flowers, wilding ones, growing on furze and fern. A brook runs through, which, like a natural hymn, sings to the dead. Then close the forest trees in many and impenetrable breaks. Few find the path which winds around the tomb, where sleeps the last and loveliest of her line.